Yup, right there. S rank right there. Yup, let's get it.
Bro, I'm really about to get your pepperoni that way. Cake like pepperoni and
It's been a while since I've sat down and played gacha games, and that's mainly because I've gotten bored of grinding every day. It also doesn't help that I play Hoyoverse games, and they have notoriously horrible gacha systems. 74 pulls to have a larger chance of getting a character sounds fine on paper, and then you realize you have to play the game for nearly 7 hours to get 10 pulls. But then Miyabi came out, and I really want this character. I have a thing for girls that can kick my ass before I can blink, and she just so happens to fit that bill perfectly. And then I got cooked by a furry. That isn't enough to stop me though, since I am inevitable, and I am also guaranteed to get Miyabi. So that means all that's left to do is just play the game for upwards of my entire holidays break. I finally get time off of school, and I'm using it all on gacha games. So with that out of the way, I invite all of you to sit back, relax, and enjoy as I go over the events that led to me regretting ever being born.
Do you honestly think you're fucking? Bro, I'll tell you what, this fat little cunt,
when you tried your first mind.
So before we begin, it's important to lay down just what we're working with. I am currently only on chapter 4, right after the Jane Doe intermission. I forgot to take a screenshot of my polychromes before I started, but one thing that I do have is my pity, which sits at 12. We're currently not in a good spot, and there's also way too many commissions for me to do, as well as the limited events. Overall, there's 3 paths for me to take if I want to get started with gambling. I can start with the events, which are a guaranteed 10 pulls after completion, or start with commissions that reward different amounts of polychromes but are still decently reliable. But the route that I chose was actually the story, starting with... So these guys are fucking weirdos. For this chapter, we go on a perilous journey into the state of Nevada in order to stop the trio of Dilf Biden, Aventurine, and Shadow the Lycaon from three-peating in the Piston Cup. We meet the Cuddy twins Piper and Lucy, Mommy and Daddy, and some dude's Pyroskin in TF2. I also wasn't paying attention for half of the story, and all that I remember is Burnus sexually harassing a furry. But anyways, Lucy tells me to meet up with her alone because she is waiting in her swimsuit, so after making sure I wasn't being followed by any feds, I go to the back alley to meet with her, only to find out that the other Connie twin was there to arrest me. After spending some time in the slammer, I fast forwarded to Dilf Biden getting kicked into Pussy Lake by Aventurine, and then Caesar fucking dies and then comes back to life in the same minute, beating Jesus' world record, and then I leave the outer ring. Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said I wasn't paying attention to the story, but I do remember seeing Miyabi at the Mexico border though. But anyways, fast forward again, and we are now at... It's finally time to get to the part of the story with the girl that we're here for. But before that, I have to play as a tall office woman. So to spare you the 2-hour playtime of this entire segment, here's the summary in 4 times speed. So chapter 2 is all focused on Miyabi. Basically, there's a guy named Justin Bringer, which is a syllable away from the guy who made Baby, and they are trying to steal her sword or something. Moving on, a bunch of story stuff happens, and I wind up stuck in a hollow with Miyabi where I passed out from being too horny. After waking up, I find out that I was possibly sexually assaulted in my sleep, but I don't really care since both of the suspects are hot. We then go on a rescue mission to save a hobbit, which ends up with my girlfriend getting captured and interrogated by an extremely hot woman. She explains that she is aware that Miyabi's sword is not just some random family heirloom, but actually contains the power of the Alpha and the Omega. I completely forgot what their plan was, so we'll just say that they were attempting to summon Virgil or something. Miyabi tells her up yours and then turns into a schizo. This is by far the coolest thing to come out of Zenless, but of course in typical Hoyoverse fashion, the story is not done yet since Bieber is still on the run. We track him down to Port El Pussy where he then transforms into the Fisting Devil. Of course this doesn't matter since the ragtag squad of Section 6 still kills him, but then he turns into the Fist God Ultima. With no choice, the gang has to run away, and this entire ending sequence can only be described by Smashbit's animations if Undertale were realistic episode 9.
The sound of a whipped goat, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice to meet you, fish lady.
You too. Hey guys.
Why has this turned into a high school reunion? And what are you doing?
Justin Bieber threatens to release a new album, which quickly prompts Miyabi to pull up and save the squad. And within less than a minute of being on screen, Miyabi kills the Fist God harder than Persona 5 collaborations kill indie gacha games. And then the credits roll. What the fuck? What is happening? Is Grace trying to touch Billy? She's literally me. She is literally me. Also, there's sibling exposition or something. But that doesn't really matter. Because now that I've completed the story...
Let's go gambling! Oh
Yeah, that's it. 7 hours of story, 2 whole chapters, 1 intermission chapter, 10 pulls.
See, laser be my motherfucking nigga.
So despite already being 3 days into the journey, I'm still 52 pulls away from hitting soft pity. Right after finishing the story, my next goal was to clear out my biblical length list of commissions. The only problem being that my characters are not only under-leveled but also unbuilt. So my selection of commissions was only a fraction of the total. But just how many did I do, you may be asking? That took 3 hours, by the way. Eventually, I was able to get a 10 pull, but nothing good came out of it. If you also paid attention to the time-lapse, you would see that I did an Internaut rank up mission. This allows me to get my characters up to level 60, which I tried to do, but I ended up running out of materials. I did end up getting some decent drive discs for them, which was enough for me to tank a few of the commissions. However, there still was a good 10 left for me to do. So if we go back to the amount of commissions I did do, we end up with 16 in total. Currently, I'm still 5 pulls short from doing a 10 pull, so a lot of work is still in order. Now, I could either continue trying and dying on commissions or go back to the drawing board. I've already completed the story and I've met a roadblock in commissions. If I really wanted to get the rest of the 500 or so polychromes, I could spend an extra 4 hours building characters, but I lack the batteries and the patience to do so, which means the only way to go now is through events. Events are a decently good way to get polychromes, but they usually take a fuck ton of time to do. Luckily, there are 4 available for me to complete: Where the Stars Shine Bright, Windchaser Harumasa, Bang Boop vs Ethereal, and Into That Pale Wasteland. The first one requires me to go to Reverb Arena in order to answer Section 6 fan trivia. The reward is 100 polychromes, but there's an extra 200 that I can get. Or I should actually say 160, because the last one requires you to have either Miyabi or Yanagi to get 40 polychromes. Now this is cool and all, but the issue is that I have to wait 4 real life hours in order to get said 160 polychromes. So for now, I moved on to Bang Boop vs Ethereal, which just so happened to also be in Reverb Arena. And this event was quite literally just Arknights. I breezed past this one, but it did take a bit of time to complete. The rewards were kind of lacking though, since they only ended up giving 560 polychromes, but it was enough for me to do a 10 pull. To be completely honest, I was already exhausted at this point. My pity only sat at 42, which meant that I was still 32 short of soft pity. It also took 2 whole events for me to get a 10 pull, so I decided that it might be better to re-angle my mode of attack. You see, these events would take me around 2 hours each to complete and would only reward me 800 polychromes at best. That may be cool for some people, but I wanted to get Miyabi fast. So instead of wasting my time with Hoya versus shitty dialogue, I will instead be bringing my ass over to
Nigga, the cops outside. Lock up the house.
The Scott Outpost holds a massive amount of polychromes. Since I'm only on stage 7 of Shiyu Defense, there's still quite a few more rewards for me to pick up. Along with this is Hollow Zero, which should also hold a decent amount of polychromes. I first started with Shiyu Defense. It's really simple since all I have to do is click buttons and abuse dodging like a Souls player, so after literally less than an hour of gameplay, I already had enough for a full 10 pull. Despite the fact that this was probably the most satisfying way to get polychromes, I ended up with yet another boring pull, since the only thing I got out of this was a Cinema 6 Piper. Yay. I don't even use this character. The only thing I know about her is that she has the same English voice actor as Eula. But anyways, after completing Shiyu Defense, I went on to do Hollow Zero, which also had barely any progression. The thing with Hollow Zero is that although it takes way longer to do a single run, it only rewards a few polychromes at best. Not that I'm complaining though, since this still gives polychromes at a way better rate than limited events. Eventually, I got a bit tired though, so I quit and then logged on the next day. Once I did, I picked up my last daily login rewards and did a 10 pull. And with this 10 pull, my pity was now at 62. 12 pulls away from Miyabi. At this point, I fully hauled ass to get her. The Scott Outpost was carrying as per usual, and I was able to get a ton of pulls off of Hollow Zero. This still wasn't enough though. I started doing single pulls in hopes of getting an A rank and exchanging the residual signals into master tapes, but I ended up not getting any. And when I did get an A rank, they gave me Ben for some reason, which only gave me 8 residual signals instead of 20. Also, he's Cinema 6 now, I guess. I also ran into a roadblock in Hollow Zero, so it was looking pretty bad at this point. However, I haven't even begun doing Lost Void, and the rewards were ready and waiting. So after a full run where I had to 1v1 Bringer with only Ellen, I ended up getting enough polychromes to hit 74, also known as Soft Pity. And then I didn't get Miyabi. No worries though, since there's still rewards from Lost Void. So after grabbing those, I pulled for Miyabi at 75. This was it. With the press of a button, I will have a Miyabi. is what I would be saying if my luck wasn't trash. I was pulling on New Year's Eve, by the way. Of course, I could just wait until the next year to pull, especially since the shop rewards would reset by that point. But at the same time, not having Miyabi when entering 2025 is kind of just saying that I'm a pussy, so I don't know. Either way, it looked like I wasn't getting her today. Holy shit! Well, she's here. If we take a look at my time played on Zenless, I started at 2 hours played, and now that I have her, it sits at 24 hours. The grind took 5 days in total, so if we do a bit of math, we can deduce that I played roughly 5.5 hours per day to get Miyabi. That may sound like a lot to some people, but remember, it's still better than Genshin. Real OGs remember when this channel was focused on gambling. Also, in honor of the new year and the fact that Star Rail is literally my least played out of the Hoyoverse Big 3, I have decided to pull a whole ass rebrand. Friendship ended with Firefly, Miyabi is my new best friend. Moving forth in the year, I have plans to have a balance between basketball bullfuckery and suffering for anime women. The goal as well is to have a decent upload schedule instead of disappearing for 3 weeks straight. I do hope that you all will stick around for that time, and I also hope that this video doesn't flop because I spent so much fucking time editing this. Even writing the script, I know damn well this video is gonna be long as fuck since it's at 13,000 characters in total. Let me know what you guys think about these longer videos because I actually had a bit of fun writing the script for this one. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And until next time.